So I wanted to start today with a quick poll. By a show of hands, how many of you here love data entry? This guy. Anybody love it when your staff spends hours and hours uploading lists and downloading lists and uploading them again? Any fans of mindless minutia? I ask these questions in jest, but the truth of the matter is, these are things that we've had to do for a long time to run our businesses. In order to be successful, we had to do the boring stuff too. The good news is that it's changing, and in some cases, has changed. Now, all those repetitive tasks can be taken off our plate to allow us to make an impact, to do what really drives value in our associations. This isn't just my opinion. Automation has been statistically proven to increase employee satisfaction. It improves decision making speed. It increases revenue and reduces those boring manual work. Lucky for us today, we have two automation superstars with us. My name is Lauren Janik. I work with Impexium. We're a membership management solution, but the stars of our show are actually standing right here behind me. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Danielle Thomas Pollard, also known as DTP, IT Director and self-proclaimed Innovation Change Agent at Auto Care Association.
And I'm that weird guy that just follows. No, nonetheless, my name is Jason Vance, the Director of Client Experiences and Solutions here at Impexium. So I oversee our integration solutions team at the organization and help drive clients to ultimately seek and maximize their investment in their technology.
So today we're going to explore how automation is not just a technology tool. It's a completely different way of thinking about working smarter. And DTP, I'm going to kind of start with a question for you. At Auto Care Association, how did you even get started with automation?
Happy to. Do we need to advance the slide? Okay. Yes, we do. Okay. Thank you. Getting started with automation. So I'm sure many people in the room have had this same experience. I have made many friends at Auto Care Association, and one of them came to me and we were talking, and she just discussed kind of as an afterthought, I'm going to be up until 3 o'clock in the morning doing data entry. And I said, friend, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Now, I'm the IT director. Maybe we can find opportunities to automate that for you. So I would like to schedule some one-on-one time with you, document your workflow and your process, and look for opportunities to automate. We are not saving lives here. There is no reason for anyone to be up at 3 a.m. And also your time could be probably better utilized doing something else like sleeping. And also, of benefit to the association and our members. Yeah.
And Jason, you work with clients of all sizes. How are you seeing them getting started with automation?
Great. And I mean, truth have it, really associations don't start with automation in mind, right? To DTP's point, it's about those 3 a.m. data entries, the 3 a.m. calls, those that are there staying ultimately behind the office. So we ultimately surveyed, a number of our different customers, right? And we were surprised to learn that some of the smallest mundane tasks, right? You think about things such as a member offboarding or keying in new data entry that's associated with a particular country. And those ultimately helped us surface some of those different overall daily tasks that create some opportunity there for automation as well. Within that, what we did is we put together a robust library or starting place that's ultimately there that keeps the capability to have those automation templates and enabling folks to go ahead and to really jump into those with 2 feet.
So what's interesting here is Auto Care Association is pretty advanced with their automation. But where it's starting is not because people are coming and saying, hey, I need an automation tool. In fact, for Auto Care Association, one place they've been really successful with automation is they completely transformed their inventory process. And that happened because DTP overheard a conversation and was like, wait, Why are you doing that? And then have those one-on-one conversations to help those people think differently. Why don't you share that story with them?
I'd be happy to. You're welcome. So I was attending an all staff virtually, and HR and one of our project managers were presenting on this. Basically, it was an inventory management solution that they had created. They had created a project plan in Asana. Nobody had talked to tech. And as I'm hearing them talk about, collateral that's going to go in and out the office, manually checking the status, updating that, the tracking, the shipping, I unmuted myself and I said, "Hey, have you thought about automating this process?" And they're like, "No, I haven't." I said, "Great, let's go offline and have a separate meeting about that." And so I documented the process and went through it. And I'm like, I added some enhancements as well because, oh, we have two of the same signs. How will we know that they've been checked out? Well, you could take a picture. Do you want to track the status when it comes back? What if it's damaged or lost? Do you want to send automated emails? So I was creating value for them and adding things that they hadn't even thought about. And we use Power Platform, Microsoft. We are all in on the Microsoft tech stack. And so utilizing the tools that we're already paying for to help make the process better for everyone.
And Jason, you're seeing clients struggle with the same thing. How have you almost become the hero by suggesting these processes?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And so ultimately becoming a hero, organizations are taking advantage, just like DTP was sharing, of some of those low code, no code platforms, right? So whether it be utilizing things like Power Automate, that's ultimately there, it's ultimately common to go ahead and to see those folks, moving and transitioning towards some of those overall, those automation pieces, right? The other key things, if you think about it, is that overall that crawl, walk, run approach, right? You don't need to go all in trying to automate a completely asynchronous between three different systems all at the same time. You're going to fail. You're going to get stuck in the sauna hell. So directionally there, in terms of identifying those areas, what are some of those overall low hanging fruit that you can start to build and to grow into some of those overall, those larger projects and areas as well.
And what I like about this is what you're thinking about is associations are in the people business. Our jobs are to really help our members succeed in whatever profession that they are in. And doing this mundane work all the time isn't helping people grow. It isn't helping your organization grow. So automating, even starting small, like they were saying, really helps staff do that critical work that you need to do. One common automation process I hear about a lot is new member onboarding. I'm not sure if any of you all have read Amanda Lee Kaiser's book, Elevating Engagement, but in it, she's discovered that the earlier we engage new members, the more engaged they are likely to be. The earlier we engage, the more engaged they are going to be. So that means the more after they join, the more time that they're crickets, you can't quite get that email out in time. Becky's out, you can't get it working. They start to question, why am I a member? Why did I join? And so Auto Care Association is in their journey of doing member onboarding via automation. So DTP, tell us about your thinking behind that, what you're doing and how that's working for you.
Yeah, so I see my role as IT director. How can I help my colleagues do their jobs better? And automation is not there to replace jobs, but to help my colleagues work better, more effectively, more quickly, more efficiently. And so I was meeting with our director of membership and his pain points about, like you said, member engagement, especially early. And I said, well, it's a lot like dating, right? But we both swiped right. And we go on our first date and we're invested. So we get dressed up, put on some makeup, put on our best suit, go out to dinner. We both liked the date. It was great. And then you go home and you're holding your phone in your hand and you're waiting for a good night text and you don't get it. And you fall asleep with that phone in your hand and you wake up, there's no good morning text. And then 6 months later, I haven't heard from you, but I get a text asking me for money or to donate to a GoFundMe. It's a lot of the same between the relationship between associations and our members, right? So there's interest on both of our parts. So let's create a 30, 60, 90-day journey for our members, right? And also know what their love language is. So if my love language is dinner, please don't buy me a vacuum cleaner. And that way we can meet their needs. And so we can automate that as well because we have a lot of members and the burden is a lot for our membership team. But also, once you're in a long-term relationship, you don't stop wooing your partner. So let's look beyond the 90 days as well and see if there are automation opportunities there to keep our members engaged and to strengthen that bond between association and member.
A quick follow-up question for you that on DTP.
Mhm.
Are you doing, is it all email based? Does it have calls in it? How did you come up with what strategy you wanted to do?
Yeah, the main touch point with our members is email. There are some other opportunities there with plugins and social media, but it's mainly email. So one thing that we do have that is a solution is I set up a Microsoft booking site for our members if they're interested in knowing more about membership, and they can book appointments with our membership team there, and then using automation to follow up with them, but it's mainly through email.
Excellent. And Jason, you have worked with some clients who are doing the new member onboarding as well. How are they thinking about it?
Yeah, great. Certainly, when they start to think about it, they are starting there. One of the best things that I heard from one of our clients is that specifically related that the renewal starts at the join, right? So as soon as that individual has joined within your particular organization, right there, that's when that next renewal begins. So what are those different steps and automations that they've ultimately created within those? Whether that's ultimately from the desk of from your membership, executive officer or whomever that is, reaching out directly to the primary contact of that organization, reaching out directly to the overall the member. As that overall those onboarding processes to continue to increase, we also think about that they're taking actions inside the system. So if I had ultimately registered, for instance, for an event, you're not going to send me a list of some of the upcoming events, but maybe I haven't taken advantage of some of those overall those benefits. So it starts to become that overall capability where again, you're just rolling out some of those basic welcome to my association to transitioning there into more of a robust if then this then do that scenario.
Those automations also make things easier. Have you ever registered for a conference and got the email to register for the conference? Um, Automation and having those things set up to work automatically and go into the proper flows, just make sure that those types of emails or the embarrassing things like, oops, they shouldn't have received that. It kind of takes some of that human error out of it. And at the same time, those people doing the work who've made the error have also been on the other side and sent the wrong email, kind of take away that panic from their day jobs. And one thing, DTP, I'm going to kind of throw in a question I hadn't prepared you for, but one thing that's really helped make them successful is this isn't a DTP initiative for automation. It is not an IT initiative for automation. It is a company wide. Hey, we have to think differently. We can't just keep doing this. And lots of times it's not that people are scared of the automation. It just hasn't occurred to them that there is a better way. How are you asking these questions to help your fellow employees say, let's think about this differently. Let's work smarter.
You use the word automatically. I like to use the word automagically because it's like magic. So I ask, one of my strategic pillars is automation. The other two are cybersecurity and policies. And so one of the things that I am doing this year is talking to people one-on-one. We are a staff of about 40. And so I have actually scheduled 1 hour one-on-one meetings with each of those staff to find out their current processes and their workflows and their pain points and to ask the questions so that they feel that they've come up with a solution. Have you thought about ways to do this better? I have a solution. Or what are you spending the most time on? What are your manual processes that maybe we can automate? So having that one-on-one conversation, because people aren't always comfortable speaking in an open forum like during an all staff meeting, or if their boss is there, or if their colleague who is the roadblock is there, they can't say they're the problem, right? So talking to people one on one, and it really garners a lot of value, and then I can offer them solutions for their value as well and provide that.
And Jason, you talked a little bit about no code, low code, but I'm in marketing. When I hear about these automation processes, I'm like, yes, sign me up, help me with this. But in the back of my head, I'm going to admit, I'm afraid I don't have the technical chops to pull it off. And who am I going to have to ask to get help with this? What can you say to the people like me who are a little tech savvy, but I feel uncomfortable doing this kind of work, and I'm almost afraid to ask? What do you say to those people?
It's a great question, right? And so certainly, again, recognizing that there are different levels of skill sets out there. I think to DTP's point, when they went and pursued the Microsoft stack or the Power Platform, right? Ultimately leveraging some of those tools out there, there's a lot of self-learning capabilities, right, that are there. There's a completely build an automation flow from 0 to 100 based off of your specific skill set. So taking advantage of some of those great robust tools that are already natively might even be included inside of your subscription, and then ultimately the learning that comes, with them as well. Additionally, there, going back to some of those earlier themes, it's important to start small, right? Crawl, walk, run. Don't think you're going to automate your processes. So when we see some of those successful clients, they pick some of those low hanging fruit or some of those things that folks are doing at 3 a.m. where simple, easy updates can be made and they're growing and evolving into that over time.
Please, I don't tell all my staff this, but whatever is broken can be unbroken. So please play in the sandbox. Don't do anything in production, but have fun with it, right? I love low code, no code tools. You just drag and drop. You have widgets. It's really easy, and it makes you feel really accomplished. Like I built something with the help of these automation, low code, no code tools.
Whenever I create any reports in Salesforce, I tell my Salesforce admin that I did it. He's never once been impressed, but I get really excited that I did it. So automation is a journey. You're never going to say, okay, check off automation. We've done that. It's a way of thinking in your organization, and you're always going to be tweaking and improving and thinking, can I automate that? Maybe not, maybe so. How have you really defined this in your organization, DTP? What lessons have you learned? What do you wish you would have known earlier?
I wish I would have set up this journey as a formal project with success criteria, but sometimes it just feels right. And if my customer is happy, my customers are my coworkers, then I'm happy. We are helping and empower people to work more efficiently, more effectively, get some sleep, go to their kids' soccer games, be able to do work that matters and most impacts our members. Our members are our lifeblood and our backbones, like all associations are. And we need to do the work that matters for them and not get bogged down with administrivia. And automation is a solution for that. I wish I had budgeted for it earlier and budgeted more. So as I go through the next budgeting cycle, I will add more allocation for automation tools. One lesson learned, one uh-oh, is I heard this not even first or second hand, it was probably third hand, where one of my staff members needed some assistance with a survey they had sent out. And then they mentioned kind of offhand, oh yeah, I used Chat GPT, and this is before I had a Gen AI governance policy, but now I have one, to come up with the survey questions, and some of them were incorrect. So again, we're not trying to replace jobs. One of the lessons learned is always have a human QC it, because right now we're smarter than the robots are.
And Jason, are you seeing any common successes with automation or maybe even common uh-ohs that people need to look out for?
Ooh, gosh, give me the fun ones here. So some of the common themes, right? Some of those overall, so those excitement again, go back to things like member onboarding, data entry, that's ultimately there within these. A lot of these tools, right? Whereas you think about them directionally, they're all around triggers and actions, right? Action, reaction. If this, then do that, right? So as you think about some of those different details, where if you're going into these, while they are obviously powerful mass data moving, importing tools, depending upon some of the different functionality that you're utilizing, taking advantage of some of those different action reaction functionality are some of the biggest success criteria that we've ultimately seen, whether that's integrating in with your email marketing system, ultimately like HubSpot, right? Maybe you've got a ticketing management system that your ticketing staff is constantly having to go look up the record inside of the AMS, come back to the ticket. Easily there, the capability as the ticket's created, identify them, put them in the appropriate bucket so that you're better serving your members there at the end of the day.
And one thing that they really talk about at Auto Care Association too is that finding out what does not work is also just as important as finding out what does work. Turns out that's good parenting advice too. So we've talked a lot about like how do you get started, some common automation tips, some common successes, some common uh-ohs. We only have a few more minutes. So what would you say are three key takeaways that if people remember nothing else from this presentation that could be unforgettable maybe? Some three key takeaways that you really think are important for thinking about your automation journey.
Jason has to come up here with me. I know. Start small. Look for those small wins because you're going to create champions within your association, right? So, like when I found these opportunities, when it's packaged up and the solution is delivered, I invite that person to report out at an all staff about the process and try to get that automation first of mind. Like, I'm going through these processes. Can automation help? Maybe I should talk to IT to see if there's opportunities there. You had some feedback about starting small, right? Those
With the
small
crawl.
wins. Yeah.
Small wins, crawl, walk, run with some of those different areas. Again, some of those overall incremental changes, right? That you have. Crawl, walk, run, right? Identifying some of those small quick wins as well.
Yeah, a win is a win, no matter how big or
Got
small.
to.
Initiate one-on-one conversations. So put it on my project management hat, talking to people. My approach to IT, I don't know if this is a thing. Maybe I should trademark and register it, but I can say humanistic IT. So people talk about technology like humans haven't built it, humans aren't selling it, humans aren't using it. You cannot remove humanity from the IT. So talking to people, finding what they do. A lot of times people don't know what other people do in associations. We have to do more with less, right? So we're wearing multiple hats. So what do you do and how can technology help? And looking at automation as a business opportunity. I think about other disruptive technologies like factory machinery and personal computers. And I think we're at that point now, maybe earlier in the roadmap. So right now it's an opportunity and it's changing the way that we work. Later on, it may become a business imperative depending on who you are and what you do. But right now, I think there's a lot of opportunity here to increase our value to our members and to make our staff's lives better. I don't know if you have
Those are
anything-
great. Those are
Okay.
awesome.
And thanks to all of you for listening to us today.
The people online or anything?
Sorry, do we have any questions from the people online? DTP is wondering.
Yeah, there's a question about when do you know when to walk and run? And the question was, how do you monitor these automations? And is there some kind of iterative process?
Now you're speaking my language, agile project management. Yes, there is an iterative process. Part of that is that feedback loop, that continuous feedback loop, creating those success criteria and those phase gates. Do you want to talk about when you run? So right now, I would say auto care is between crawling and walking. We're kind of early in our journey now. I would like to run. I'm just a runner, like drop me in the deep end of the pool, but I'm not the only one, right? So it's all staff and making sure that we as a unit crawl, walk, run together, taking the temperature and making sure that, from a maturity model level that we move together because you don't want to lose people when you talk too technical and things like that. So for me, it's creating the criteria and it's going to vary by association between crawl. Now we can exit that and go to walk. Now we can exit that and go to run. Do you have any additional feedback?
I think the big thing, there when you start to see run, it's built into your everyday, right? That's ultimately associated with it. Instead of asking, can automation do this and coming out with some robust, it's actually deploying that. It's actually staff saying, hey, DTP, I built these 3, automation with step flows. Can you look over my shoulder? Am I doing it ultimately the right way? Taking a look back at those different details. So it's about incorporating it into the overall your day to day.
So it becomes part of your operations almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, another question is, do you have a formal process for sharing these automations? Like you worked in marketing and membership, and maybe education development needs something similar. So how do you formally share those automations with the rest, especially in the, in the hybrid environment where not everyone's in the office at the same time, and those water cooler talks sometimes have to happen remotely or virtually?
All staff meetings. So we have all staff meetings every 2 weeks virtually on Microsoft Teams. And so I have time slides in every meeting. So presenting where we are, sometimes you don't want to socialize things too soon. Like I'm thinking about, it's a concept right now, but once we start doing the work, publicizing those out, everybody has a Power Automate license so that they can use it. So even if the solution wasn't built for a specific individual, once they start using the solution, then that gives them a greater appetite to want to build some things themselves and start thinking, how can I automate my manual processes, and coming to us. Yep. All right. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Danielle, DTP, and Jason. It was interesting when DTP was speaking about automation. What she said the most important thing and the genesis of automation was actually talking to people. So basically, I used the phrase, I think it was humanistic IT as well. So you're kind of living that. So the basic point is that we can talk all day about AI, we can talk all day about automation, about processes, etc. But if we don't really understand the people that we're working with, understand their challenges and their pain points, we ain't going to come up with the right solutions at the end of the day. Now, I think it was DTP also mentioned that their main source of communicating with their members was through email. But what I thought I would do here is just get a little bit of audience reaction for a moment and see what other kinds of communication are you using as an association. So just by a show of hands, and people online can drop in if they wish. Well, I'm not sure if they'll comment on it. By a show of hands, how many associations or societies here have got a Facebook? Okay, about maybe 40% of the room. Let's be more aggressive, gang, okay? So for the next one, how many of you have got a Twitter or X account? Okay, probably about 40, 50% as well. What about a LinkedIn account for your clients? Nearly all of you, yeah? I'm not going to get involved in it, but combining AI with LinkedIn can be really good way to generate good content and to get a connection with your audience. Let's go have a look at a couple of others. YouTube channel. Okay, maybe 55%, 60%, etc. Instagram. Yeah, how do I know that would be less? TikTok. Okay, one. Tinder. Oh no, sorry. Didn't mean that. Right. But it's interesting though, the way that they've just the world has changed. While I'm reasonably sure that Facebook and LinkedIn are very important at this stage, I'm becoming more and more convinced that so many of your members are on Instagram, that if you're not on Instagram, you are missing a real chance to connect with the Gen Zs and the millennials. That's just a perception that I've got as a speaker. So thanks for that information.